talking with witnesses, gearing up to have that press conference with Boulder police as we learn more about, again, what is now being called a targeted terror attack in Boulder that happened just about an hour ago. Andrew Hobner had been talking with witnesses who said it was very unnerving, of course, to see what happened to these people as they were walking in this event, if you will, a pro-Israel event in support of Israeli hostages. This is witness video. You can see all the crime tape there as those who were injured being carted off to be treated. We believe at least one person is now in police custody. They have been detained. We are working to learn more information if perhaps more than one person has been detained or may have been involved in this. Of course, these are questions we will be asking during the press conference that's happening in about 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and listen now to one of those witnesses.
Protesters come in. They're peaceful. There's no problems there. They come up. They stand in front of the courthouse. They do it every weekend. It's fine. No one, I've never seen anything happen before that. So, that's business as usual. Pearl Street is Pearl Street. And, these days there's not police on Pearl Street. There used to be. So things can happen. Things happen. Yeah. And not quite like that, but the potential is there.
How are you doing right now? Yeah.
I'm totally shaken up. I work on Pearl Street. I've been working on Pearl Street for 15 years.
All right, that was your reporter Andrew Hobner talking with a witness there along the Pearl Street Mall who says he was shook up. He still is. It was a very traumatic event to witness that terror attack. This is what the FBI is calling what happened in Boulder just about an hour ago. The FBI director, Kash Patel, saying, quote, "We are aware of and fully investigating, again, a targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. Our agents and local law enforcement are on the scene already, and we will share updates as more information becomes available." We are hoping that more of that information will become available here within the next 7 to 10 minutes as Boulder police are holding a press conference in Boulder at 15th and Walnut, so not too far from where this terror attack happened earlier this afternoon near 13th and Pearl Street. We do know that multiple people are hurt because of this attack, and we do know at least one person has been detained. Your reporter, Olivia Young, also live in Boulder, rushed to that scene as quickly as we could get out there following this breaking news. Olivia, what can you tell us at this hour?
Yeah, Kelly, as you said, a lot we don't know right now. There's a lot of chaos and confusion. We're still seeing a lot of people wandering around downtown Boulder who weren't even aware of what happened, but a good chunk of downtown behind me, Pearl Street, is closed. The 1200, 1300, and 1400 blocks of Pearl Street between Walnut and Pine. You can see that crime tape sectioning it off. We spoke with some businesses inside that area who said they were told to shut down for the day and go home. As you said, the FBI now involved in this says they have agents here on scene, and they are investigating the incident as an act of terror and targeted violence. Now, we're getting ready to learn more from Boulder police and hear if some of these reports we've heard are true in just a few minutes, but definitely a lot of tension down here. We do know some people were injured. Boulder Community Health says they're working hard to triage, and we do know that at least 2 people were life-flighted out of here with burn injuries. So again, in just a few minutes, we'll be learning more about those victims and about this alleged assailant. I'll send it back to you.
Olivia, as you were making your way to Boulder, can you tell me what it was like trying to get to that area, just as, of course, Boulder police and other authorities are trying to get everybody out? I mean, of course, it's important for our crews to get there, such as yourself, to get there safely, to be in an area where you are safe, but to bring us this important information. So can you sort of set the stage for us there and what that was like?
Yeah, Kelly, I mean, there was certainly a lot of traffic here, but I was struck as I came by seeing so many people walking through the streets just as if it was a normal Sunday. And I met with a lot of people who weren't aware of what happened and who were asking us questions and, of course, very shocked and horrified once they heard. So I think a lot of people down here were just having a normal weekend day, and now they're trying to rationalize and learn more about what happened, as we are as well.
And I understand you are near where this media staging is happening, correct? The press conference is happening. Are you able to tell? I know Boulder police, right? So Boulder police are putting this together. We also understand that the FBI is already there along Pearl Street or in that area. Can you tell us what other agencies you're seeing there on the ground and what that investigation looks like from your vantage point?
Yeah, right now we are just seeing Boulder police. I did see some Boulder fire. I believe Boulder police are the ones leading this press conference. We may be hearing from the FBI as well. Of course, everything closed off down here behind us.
It's just really incredible to see this happening. You know, Olivia, I don't know if you've personally been able to see this witness video, because again, you rushed out there to the scene to get us some questions answered. But this video showing some of those people who were hurt in this terror attack in Boulder, you know, unfortunately, you can see them on stretchers and what appears to be those burn injuries. Like you mentioned, you said 2 people have been airlifted. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's what we know from radio transmissions, that at least 2 people were life-flighted with burn injuries. But again, Boulder police saying there are multiple injuries, so it could certainly be more people who are injured.
All right. Thank you, Olivia. We will be sure to check back in with you. And again, that media conference, that press conference is scheduled to happen here in just a few minutes. They say about 4 o'clock. We know, though, sometimes these things can take a while to actually go on as scheduled, as new information is continuously flowing in, both to investigators and then as more agencies are involved, including the FBI. So just to recap, before we hear from Boulder police, I want to remind everyone, especially if you are just tuning in here to us on CBS News Colorado, that just about 3 o'clock this afternoon, Boulder police tweeting that there was an attack on the Pearl Street Mall, so near 13th Street and Pearl Street. That attack has since been redefined by the FBI as a targeted terror attack. It happened during a walk that many people take several times every week, as we are learning, that is a sort of pro-Israel event, if you will. These folks walk in support of the hostages that are still being held by Hamas. Witnesses say that attack was from a Molotov cocktail. That is a witness description, but when you look closely at this video that was taken by witnesses there, you can see what is clearly some burn marks on the ground there. And then, as we heard Olivia reporting, and as we have been hearing, multiple people have been hurt, and some of those injuries do appear to be burn injuries. As we get here to closer to 4 o'clock, it appears that Boulder police may actually be starting this press conference about a targeted terror attack where multiple people have been hurt and at least 1 person has been detained. I believe we have that. Oh, we have more of that witness video that we want you to take a closer look at here. So, of course, you can see how much debris is there in that courtyard, the crime tape that is around the area. Boulder police expanded the evacuation zone shortly after responding there. Within 20 minutes, they expanded that evacuation zone to include the 1,200, 1,300, and 1,400 blocks of Pearl Street. You can see, of course, fire crews there responding to the injuries to help people. And then many people who were there just as witnesses, as this is a very popular area in Boulder, the Pearl Street Mall, an area where there are local shops, restaurants where people enjoy gathering. I believe a gentleman we heard, Andrew, your reporter, Andrew Hobner, talking to is one of those entertainers you might see on one of those pedestrian malls. He said even just about an hour after this attack, of course, he is still shaken up. He says that it was very traumatic, that this is something that happened to a community, our community in Boulder. And of course, you never want to see someone hurt, but now this has been a confirmed targeted terror attack. This is just wild to see in a very beloved part of our state, a very beloved part of Boulder. We are hearing again, multiple people have been injured. Olivia is reporting that she heard at least 2 people have been airlifted because of their burn injuries. We will work to get as much as we can confirmed during that press conference with Boulder police that is expected to start here any minute now. We do know that they have a command center there in the Pearl Street area. That is likely where investigators are hubbed, and then the media staging area not too far from there, of course, at a safe distance from where this targeted terror attack happened. We do know, of course, Boulder police investigating. The FBI is now involved in this investigation. In fact, they already have local agents there on the ground. The director of the FBI sending out a statement a short time ago saying that they have been notified of what has happened, again, calling this a targeted terror attack. This here is a map that was put out that shows you the exact evacuation area of Pearl Street. So again, the 1,200, 1,300, and 1,400 blocks of Pearl Street between Pine and Walnut. That is the entire evacuation zone. We do know that there are, of course, a lot of businesses, shops, restaurants in that area. Many of them have had to close early this afternoon due to the ongoing investigation. A lot of people were certainly in that area at the time of this targeted terror attack, and so they have been asked to leave that area. People, of course, being asked to not come near this area. We do know that the media staging, so if you take a look at the kind of the bottom and right-hand side of that red square again, which is the evacuation zone, 15th and Walnut is where Boulder police say that is where the media staging is. So that conference that press conference we will be bringing to you shortly live from Boulder police, that is the area where they are staged. And then looking closer towards the middle of the map at 13th and Pearl Street, that sort of courtyard that might be kind of hard to see because this is shaded in red, that is where that attack happened. Again, what the FBI is calling a targeted terror attack. That is where it happened there. That's where that video we showed you that came from a witness that shows all the crime tape, and then as fire crews and EMS responders were carting off some of the multiple people, we are told, that were injured because of this attack in Boulder this afternoon. Here is that video. Gosh, this is really hard to see. You can see a person there on that stretcher with bandages around their legs, presumably a burn injury, because witnesses are describing this as a Molotov cocktail attack. That's a witness description. We're hoping to get that confirmed if Boulder police or any investigators are able to confirm it here when we hear from them in just a few minutes. But this video, again, from a witness, you can see what it clearly looks like burn marks from some sort of incendiary device there on the ground that left multiple people injured. Also, we have heard from Governor Polis. He has had shared some words on his social media. Here we can read a little bit of his statement. He says he's closely monitoring the situation. His thoughts go out to the people who have been injured and impacted by, again, this heinous act of terror. He says hate-filled acts of any kind are unacceptable. So right now we are hearing that there are folks with Boulder police and other investigators that are entering into that media staging area. So let's go ahead and listen in on, again, what has been called a targeted terror attack.
Early stages of this active investigation, and Chief Stephen Redfern is going to speak to you about what happened this afternoon. Chief.
Hold on, Steve.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Dion said, my name is Stephen Redfern. I serve as the police chief here in Boulder, Colorado. Today I'm here to give you very preliminary information about an attack that occurred here in downtown Boulder at about 1:26 p.m. today. At that time, Boulder dispatch received several calls to the county courthouse located at 1325 Pearl Street here in Boulder. The initial callers indicated that there was a man with a weapon and that people were being set on fire. The initial response by our officers, we were on scene very quickly. When we arrived, we encountered multiple victims that were injured with injuries consistent with burns and other injuries. While our officers and paramedics and fire department personnel got those victims quickly to the hospital, our officers were pointed out, a suspect was pointed out to our officers on the scene. Our officers immediately encountered that suspect who was taken into custody without incident. That suspect, who I'm not able to ID at this time, was taken to the hospital with some minor injuries as well. And there's a lot more we're investigating right now before I'm able to release information on that person. The scene itself is contained, but we have a large area here in downtown Boulder closed off right now. Businesses have been closed, and we have asked people to avoid the area. This area is not safe yet. We're dealing with a vehicle of interest. We're dealing with a large area that we are making sure it's safe before we allow people to come back into the scene. If your vehicle is here in the several block perimeter that we have, please follow our social media. We will announce when the roads are open and people can retrieve their vehicle as well. I appreciate everyone's patience as we work through this complex scene. What I will say lastly is this was a beautiful Sunday afternoon in downtown Boulder on Pearl Street, and this act is unacceptable. I hope you'll join me this evening as we're working through this investigation. We are working, I just came from the command post. We've got dozens and dozens of people here, our state, local, and federal partners working through this to figure out exactly what happened. I ask for a little bit of patience as we do that, but also I ask that you join me in thinking about our victims, the families of those victims, and everyone involved in this tragedy. our hearts go out to them, and we are going to do everything we can to work as hard as we can throughout the evening to provide more information and get answers for everyone. With that, as I stated, it would be irresponsible for me to speculate right now on motive and other things. I will take maybe a handful of questions, but then I've got to go back to a briefing.
I had a quick one.
Yes, Shaw.
Was an actual protest going on when this occurred? Were a group of people gathered and were words said that would indicate this had anything at all to do with that protest?
So what I will tell you, on Pearl Street, it's a walking pedestrian mall downtown here. There was a lot of people out. Very beautiful day. There was a group of pro-Israel people that were there in a peaceful demonstration. I wouldn't even call it a protest. I believe that happens frequently down here. They were there in that area. We are looking and actively interviewing victims and witnesses to determine if that group was targeted or others, and we just don't have those answers yet. Those are things we hope to be able to provide you later this evening.
FBI is already calling it a targeted terror attack. Would you also refer to it as a terror attack?
So I've been in contact with our local FBI multiple times. We are in contact with them here. We are not calling it a terror attack at this point. Again, it's way too early to speculate motive. I know there's a lot out there on social media, but I ask people just to give us a little bit of patience while we work through a really complex scene. A lot of witnesses were here. We've taken them to another location to debrief them and interview them. As we do that, I think the picture will become more clear. But it would be irresponsible for me to speculate on motive this early on. We're only a couple hours into this thing.
Was something wrong?
I'll go right here.
About the suspect, can you confirm the description about him? Because we know any picture running in social media.
I haven't seen it, and obviously I wasn't here when he was arrested. All I know is it's an adult male. We're working to identify that person. We're working to figure out where they're from, and we're in contact with our federal partners as well as we figure that out.
Was something thrown at the group?
That is being investigated as well. So our initial call, as I mentioned, was a report that someone was setting people on fire. That is fairly consistent with the injuries that we found on scene, but we're not 100% certain how that happened, and that's what we're doing to interview. There's a lot of witnesses that we're interviewing. I suspect within this evening, we'll have a better idea of exactly how those injuries occurred.
Are you guys going to have additional security for Jewish and Israeli people helping the hostages in the circle right now? Because this is a weekly occurrence, are you guys going to now have some additional security measures to protect Jews in Boulder?
So what I will say is, again, I cannot confirm right now that this was targeted at a specific group of people. We understand that there's a lot of tensions right now and a lot of issues in the United States and everywhere. Once we have a clear motive, we will react accordingly. And if that motive was a group was targeted, we will absolutely step up and ensure that additional security, additional presence. We want people to feel safe no matter what they're here for.
How many people were injured?
I don't have an exact number. What I will say is multiple. I can confirm that Boulder Community Hospital received multiple patients, and some of those patients were transferred to other hospitals. Right now, we have detectives working to find out specifically the number. Again, hopefully later this evening we'll have an exact number. Right now, I'll just say multiple. I take one more question.
Any life-threatening injuries?
I believe so. What I'm being told is there are a range of injuries from very serious to more minor. And again, I just am, my heart goes out to those victims, and we're keeping them in our thoughts, prayers, and minds as they recover. I got to go back to the command post.
You need to take this call. And I'll tell you that we are going to have another update later tonight. We will post that out and we will live stream it as well. So follow our social media for the next update. We will have another update for you this evening. Thank you.
All right, so that there was just a very brief but very informative press conference involving Boulder police following today's attack on the Pearl Street Mall. Now, what's very interesting, you just heard from the chief of Boulder Police, Chief Redfern, that he is not prepared to call this a targeted terror attack. However, the FBI director, Kash Patel, did say on social media that we are aware of and fully investigating a targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. This actually happened around 1:26 this afternoon. That is when Boulder police say they got the initial calls from multiple callers in the area near the county courthouse, which is near 13th and Pearl Street, near the 13th and along the Pearl Street Mall. They got calls about a man with a weapon who was setting people on fire. And the Boulder police chief saying that is very consistent with when their crews arrived, when their officers arrived and EMS arrived, they found multiple people injured with burn injuries. He didn't couldn't give an exact number of patients that were taken to both the Boulder Community Hospital and then transferred to other area hospitals. But we do know, as he said, the injuries range from minor to life-threatening. Again, we don't have an exact number of people who have been hurt, but there are some people here who have been injured in this attack along the Pearl Street Mall in Boulder who have life-threatening injuries. He also confirmed that one person was taken into custody, an adult man. He is not willing to, at this point, give any other information on that person's identity, of course, because it is an ongoing investigation. As you can see here in this live picture from our crews that are there along the Pearl Street Mall, you can see Boulder police still very much investigating this area. You can see crime tape up and around parts of those businesses and areas of what is normally a very busy and, quite frankly, beautiful part of Boulder, the Pearl Street Mall. The Boulder police chief telling us, quote, "That area is not safe yet." This is a very complex investigation. They have agencies from the state, local, and federal level that are part of this ongoing investigation as to what the FBI is calling a targeted terror attack. They are also looking at a vehicle of interest, which is why this is still a very active scene. Now, this also is a very active area of Boulder, right? The Pearl Street Mall. So the Boulder police chief said if you were in that area, your vehicle was in that area, and then you were part of that massive evacuation zone, but your car is still in there. They are aware of that, and they are asking that you follow their social media for any updates on when you might be able to go ahead and retrieve your vehicle. But you're not going to be able to do that for quite some time, as this is a very complex scene and that this is not a safe area yet. We also now have a statement from the Boulder Jewish Community Center on this Pearl Street attack, and it says, quote, "We are saddened and heartbroken to learn that an incendiary device was thrown at walkers at the Run for Their Lives walk on Pearl Street as they were raising awareness for the hostages still held in Gaza. We don't have all the details of what is unfolding, and we promise to keep our community informed. Our hearts go out to those who witnessed this horrible attack, and prayers for a speedy recovery to those who were injured." That is a joint statement again from Boulder's Jewish community. Our Jewish governor, Governor Polis, also sharing a very similar statement earlier today, saying that his heart goes out to those who have been injured and impacted by this heinous act of terror. We will be continuing to find more information for you, asking more questions. We have at least two crews there on the ground for you right now. Your reporter, Olivia Young, and your reporter, Andrew Hobner. They will bring us more live coverage on CBS News Colorado at 5 following this attack on Boulder's Pearl Street.